Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast, where we talk about everything dog. Q&As with veterinarian professionals, rescue operators, everyday topics. We cover everything dog on this podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media on both Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again for listening. Now here's that next episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast. This is your host, Brittany, and today we are joined by Donna of Canine Cancer Bites. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I am Donna Kelley, and I am the owner of Canine Cancer Bites, a local company to help provide assistance for families facing a pet cancer diagnosis.
So how was Canine Cancer Bites started?
That is a long, very complicated road. My dog was diagnosed with cancer in August of 2019, and I very naively assumed that people knew about pet cancers, at least pet parents, but very quickly realized I was wrong. And so my initial goal was just to raise awareness, education. I had no idea of a business of any sort. And then March, April hit of 2020, we were in the midst of COVID. People were losing their jobs. And I called Jenga's oncologist, Sivo Med, and asked if they had a family that needed assistance. I couldn't do much. I could do a couple $100s, but I had not lost my job. And so I was doing a lot better than many. And they had a family whose dog was diagnosed with nasal cancer. The same time mom and dad lost their jobs, both of them. So they had no options. They couldn't do staging. So they didn't know what was available for their dog. Mm-hmm. And that just was not an acceptable thing to me, that the only thing standing in the way of their dog receiving treatment was money. Mm-hmm. So I literally went on social media, begged all my friends and family to help me help this family. And they really stepped up. We raised the $1,900 needed in about a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. And she got her staging done. Mom and dad got their jobs back. And for me, that was it. That was done. And I was still just raising awareness. And then the vet called me back and said, hey, we have another family that needs help. Would you be willing to help? Mm-hmm. And I said, sure, but I can't just beg people for money. I need to find a better option. So at that point, is when I really started to think that this could actually be something. Mm-hmm. I could combine these two things and maybe go somewhere with this.
Yeah, that's awesome. We were talking off air earlier about how a couple of years ago, my husband and I had a Pomeranian with cancer, and we definitely didn't have the money for it. We didn't know what to do. We just ran up a bunch of credit cards, all of them at 25 to 29% interest, ended up selling our house to pay it all off. So it's great that there is an organization like Canine Cancer Bites to help families, because I mean, our only hurdle at that point in time was money, and I know for so many people, running up credit cards isn't an option. Maybe they don't even have the credit. Maybe their credit's already maxed out, or they have children or other obligations. They're taking care of someone and they just can't spend that kind of money. So I think it's great what you guys are doing. What are some of the projects that you are currently working on?
I don't generally do very many projects per se. I did recently help organize a fundraiser for a dog, just because Canine Cancer Bites did not have the funds to assist them. But I usually do 3 to 5 events a month. I have one that I do the second Saturday of every month at First Coast Christian Church on San Jose Boulevard. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that event for several years. And then there's a small organization called First Coast Vendor Villages, and we do evening events in local apartment complexes and condos. Oh, okay. And I usually do several of those every month as well.
And what do you normally do at those events? Are you making something or providing something?
At the second Saturday event, I have crafts that I sell. Okay. Some of which are ones that I've made. Others are local vendors, crafters, makers donate items for me to sell for the funds to help the animals that I'm helping.
Okay.
I also have a couple of things that are just Canine Cancer Bites. I have clings, window clings that say Cancer Bites. It's a paw print. I have some window clings that are nose and whisker prints. And so those, when I do the smaller events, it's just the Canine Cancer Bites. It's none of the craft. And then the second Saturday market is the one that has everything.
Okay. How many families or dogs would you say you're helping annually? And I know that's kind of tough to put a number on that, but, or even how many have you helped so far?
Financially, I'm helping 2 currently. They are the 9th and the 10th family that I've helped financially.
Okay.
I'm a very small business.
Yeah.
I don't bring in a lot of funds, but 100% of the funds that I bring in either go back into the business or to the families.
And how do the families normally find you, or what does that application process look like for you?
So all the families that I provide financial assistance for go to our local veterinary oncologist, SIVO Med, Southeast Veterinary Oncology and Internal Medicine. If a family comes into them and indicates they're not sure how they're going to pay for treatment, SIVO gives them some resources, and then they put them in touch with me. I then reach out to the family. We discuss what it is they need. I give them more resources, more support, and provide as much financial assistance as I can through the duration of their pet's treatment. And those funds that I bring in just go directly into their account at SIVO.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I don't think you weren't around, unfortunately, when I was at SIVO Med, because it was one of those conversations of, well, do you want to apply for care credit, or do you want to use a current credit card? And at the time, there were just no local organizations really helping. And during my time at SIVO Med, it was actually kind of eye-opening how many families come in and out of that door with dogs with cancer, dogs, cats, whatever it might be. But it was almost alarming how many dogs were coming in with cancer and various forms, 99% of them being, terminal cases. Within so many months that your best friend won't be here anymore. So being at SIVO Med is a whole, experience in and of itself, unfortunately. They do really great work there. So if you are listening and you're in Northeast Florida and you need to see an oncologist, or maybe you just need a second opinion, SIVO Med, they do a really good job. And we actually ended up at both locations, the one on San Pablo and the one over in Orange Park. So we would do chemo at one, we would do radiation at the other. But both great locations, great doctors, great vet techs too. The vet techs were amazing. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they see that day in and day out, because I would quit my first day and I would take all the dogs home with me.
Yeah, they're pretty phenomenal. And just for a number, because you mentioned how many you see coming and going, it's estimated that 12 million cats and dogs are diagnosed every year in the U.S. alone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And a big reason I started Canine Cancer Bites for the education purpose, it's also estimated that 75% to 80% of pet parents do not know their pets can get cancer.
Oh, wow.
So, which is why they're catching it late, which is why then their options are limited, which is why so many don't survive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we personally knew a dog could get cancer, but in our mind, it was rare. I don't think we had met anyone. And the thing is, we probably did, and they didn't even know their dog had cancer. But in the beginning, it was just, well, she's not eating as much, but she's getting older. Maybe that's it. She's sleeping more. She's getting older. That's probably it. And it took probably 6 months of just little teeny tiny things kind of popping up, and then adding that all together and being like, wait, we need to go into the vet and advocate for blood work and for scans. And then once we got our scans, advocating for them to aspirate and to figure out, okay, what is that mass that you found? And so, there's multiple levels of education here with respect to owners, but then also the advocating on your own behalf. So many people are afraid to advocate to their vet, even to their personal doctor. And that's truly what it takes.
Yep. You have to stand up for them.
Yeah. So where can people find you online as far as a website and social media? And then is there a way for people to donate?
So I own a website. I don't have anything on it currently. But I do have Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, it's facebook.com/Pet Cancer Bites. And Instagram, it's Canine Cancer Bites. My email is caninecancerbites@gmail.com. And so those are the best ways you can get me online. As far as helping, again, a big thing for me is education. 80% of pet parents, that's a really big number that don't know their pets can get cancer. And I hear it every single event that I do. Numerous people we didn't know until we got the diagnosis. So going on those pages, sharing that information, reaching out to your friends and family that have pets and educating them and let them know, hey, this is a thing you need to know about. As far as financially, I always share any funding options that families have, whether that is a GoFundMe account, a Waggle account. Their SIVO information, people sometimes prefer to donate directly into their account at the oncologist because then they know it is going towards that treatment.
Right.
That information is always at every event that I do. It's always on both of my social media pages. If somebody wants more information, they can email me directly or message me, and I can get them that information specifically for specific families. So sharing all of it, and if you can't find that information on my pages, just message me directly, and will gladly share it. Cancer treatments are expensive. My dog's treatment in 2 years cost me $27,000. I was lucky I had resources. A lot of people don't.
Right. Well, thank you so much for not only the work that you do, but just this educational piece. I think it's so important. And, I hope that this message gets to the right people. If you're listening to this, please share it. I know it's a very sad subject, but at the end of the day, it's important. It could happen to any pet parent. So thank you so much for what you do. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Canine Culture Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media. If you have any recommendations, any topics that you'd like to hear, if you know of any guests that would be good for the show, or if you yourself want to be a guest, please reach out to us. Send us an email at canineculturepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a direct message on social media. Thank you for listening, and please share this with any of your dog-loving friends.